up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rise. We're back in the OG filming spot location because guess what? I have the OG of that one word many people don't want to say in the auto industry, the OG minivan. This is it. This is a 2022 Chrysler Pacifica. This one is the top Pinnacle trim, and we have the e-hybrid version. But before we get into this hyper-miling, super versatile, ultimate people hauler, let's talk about what's going on here. In the 1980s, Lee Iacocca and the rest of Chrysler really wowed the auto industry with the first minivan. Now, in that early conception and inception, it was all about having that maximum room for the people in your family, the people that live on your block, or maybe the people that go to school with you. Now, that was what was replacing the station wagon, that traditional family hauler. Now, fast forward to the Chrysler Pacifica, things have changed in the auto industry. There's been a big shift away from minivans to SUVs. Now, the funny thing in all of this is that the SUVs don't have nearly the amount of cargo room and passenger room that a minivan has. Some would say SUVs have the cooler persona, but Chrysler wants to prove all that wrong with this Pinnacle edition of the Pacifica. Lots of competition still from the main heavy hitters. You got the Honda Odyssey, you got the Toyota Sienna. What I want to do is, I almost forgot, the Kia Carnival. What I want to do is I want to put this up against another electrified version of the minivan, the Toyota Sienna. The rest of the competition is internal combustion engine only. So let's go ahead, let's dive into our velvet red. That's a special optional color, Chrysler Pacifica Pinnacle e-hybrid, and see, is it the better minivan over the Toyota Sienna? Let's go ahead and find out. Right off the bat, the size. I think when you're looking at minivans, the Pacifica has the more traditional shape. Now, that could be good and that could be not so good. I think people are familiar with this shape, and maybe that's a reason why they are brought to Chrysler, or maybe they don't want more of a kind of in-between look. But definitely at the front of the business, besides that sparkling velvet red, what do we got going on here? Full LED lighting. So you got your LED projector beam headlight, we got our turn signal in there, and you have your LED daytime running lamps. Working our way down, you do have some silver trim and some gloss black. I'm gonna zonk this gloss black area though. Why, oh why do we need to make it look like a fake vent? No reason, just keep it smooth, man. Keep it smooth. You do have LED fog lamps, which is a nice touch. And then the way that they brought the trim to kind of wrap around this lower corner really is aesthetically pleasing to the eye. Now, as we come across that low slung hood and that traditional shaped grille, what do we got going on? You got the Chrysler badge. Yes, Chrysler is still in existence, and the Pacifica is one of the reasons why. We got the gloss black grille with forward-facing camera, and on the Pinnacle trim, we have that silver that goes around almost the whole shape of the grille, but I like the way that they didn't bring it up underneath the hood. I think that would make it look too heavy. Now, working our way down, we got that same grille design, gloss black and functionality in the lower area. But like I was saying, more of a rounded appearance, whereas if you look at the Sienna, definitely has more angular, more modern shape to it. Now, when we get up onto the hood, it's short and stubby, just like you'd find on all the other minivans. Kind of waterfalls down nicely. You got an indentation in the center. And then coming around the bend, what do we got working with? Wheel and tire setup. So what you're gonna find are these 18-inch wheels specific to the Pinnacle. Nice hand polished aluminum finish, Y-spoke design, 235 on the width, 60 series sidewall. The great news is you could get this vehicle front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. And think about that. There's not a lot of SUVs out there that you could get all-wheel drive. Plus, you could go e-hybrid, or you could go good old Pentastar V6, which for the Sienna, they only offer it hybrid, and that is it. They don't give you any other choices. Now, the great news is everything is painted that optional velvet red color, beautiful color. Coming down the side, Pinnacle, we're gonna get the aluminum finish on the mirror caps and aluminum finish top and bottom of the window frames and also along the roof rails. What are some of the other special touches? We have color matched door handles with some aluminum. You have your Pinnacle badge and then the aluminum trim along the rocker panel. And of course, you're gonna get these massive passenger side doors, which is real simple to operate. You just pull on the handle and you got that nice power slide action. On both sides, of course, you push the button and it's easy peasy, lemon squeezy. One of the things that I think Chrysler does really well compared to the Sienna is that they actually hide the track. Look at how well they hide the track for that door to ride along, right underneath the rear quarter window. The way they shape it and the trim looks clean. Coming around the back, what do we got going on? You got a stubby roof spoiler. You do have a color matched shark fin antenna up top, and they put the LED third brake light up in the center there. We do have a wiper. I'm not gonna zonk it. There's nowhere to hide it. And on the Sienna, you got the same deal. But look at just how nice it looks like. It's one large piece of glass. I think that's a really nice touch. LED taillights, just like the headlights. You got the Chrysler badge. A lot of history there with that badge. And then of course, Pacifica. And then to wrap it off, e-hybrid. Now, one thing to point out, e-hybrid, this is actually a plug-in hybrid, not a standard hybrid like the Sienna, but I'll talk more about that when we get to it. Everything else is super clean, nice low rear bumper, and of course you got your door handle conveniently located to get into that rear hatch area. But why don't we go ahead, let's pop the hood and talk power of the Pacifica. All right guys, we got the hood popped. You do have a prop rod, but guess what? It's even Stevens because the Toyota Sienna also has a prop rod. Underneath the hood, semi-tasteful engine cover. There's really not much more I could say about it. It does say e-hybrid because that's what we have, is a very unique setup. So what you're looking at is a naturally aspirated V6. We do have the 3.6 liter V6, but it's mated to an electric motor, and that's gonna give us 260 horsepower, 230 pound-feet of torque. Just like the Sienna, it does have a CVT transmission. So if you go good old internal combustion engine with the Pacifica, you could get the 9-speed automatic. This has a CVT. It does use a 16 kilowatt hour lithium ion battery, 0 to 60 in 7.8 seconds. But the great news is our MPGs, 87 in the city, 77 on the highway. And because this is a plug-in electric hybrid, you got 32 miles of pure EV and the vehicle weighs 5,010 pounds. Now, going back to this being a plug-in, that's where you're gonna have an advantage over the Sienna. Sienna is your traditional hybrid. You drive it, it charges the battery. This, you plug it in each night. If your trip to the office is only 15 miles, you could actually do it without using any fuel. 15 miles out, 15 miles back is 30. You got 32 mile range, something the Sienna can't do. But why don't we go ahead, let's see what this Pacifica looks like in motion. All right, guys, come on in to the ultimate family hauler, the original Chrysler Pacifica. Yes, the original technically is the Dodge Caravan, I get it. But this is from the same company, Chrysler, and is a direct descendant. And has been in production nonstop. So, I mean, it just kind of makes sense of what Chrysler's bringing to the table. Now, I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I'm ready to do it. I don't give a care what my friends are going to call me. I don't care what people are going to think about me, or when they're sitting next to me at a light and they look over and I'm in a minivan. This really will fit my needs perfectly, but how much is it? Very good question. And you know what? Sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never harm you. I promise you that. MSRP for this top trim e-hybrid, $60,000. Let's see how it stacks up to the Toyota Sienna, to the door panels. You're getting the highest level of Pacifica perfection. Soft touch material. I love the contrast stitching. you're getting some wood finish. I get it with this type of vehicle. And that's the thing, is it's a little bit more fuddy-duddy than the Toyota Sienna. You got the two-tone, it's almost like that Tupelo honey color material that they use in Jeep. You got a Twinkie tray right in the center, which is perfect because of the color of that center section. Large door pocket down there. Easily get 2 Coney dogs, extra sauerkraut, and a bottle of Mr. Pibb to wash it down. We got the Harman Kardon premium optional sound system. And then going from the door panel to the dash, it just continues. Soft touch, the stitching, even soft touch on this lower portion. You got the wood, and then you got the new Uconnect 5, 10.25-inch infotainment system. I do like the way it's integrated, and it's a very intuitive system. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto navigation goes without saying. You do have, of course, your full array of AC controls, including ventilated seats for the front passengers, which are nice, the driver and the passenger. I'm gonna go ahead and shut that off because it's gonna get a little loud in here. And then we go into vehicle. What do we got going on? Check it out. You can actually see that e-hybrid system working with its power flow. You could do driving history to see how good you've been hypermiling. Have you been hugging enough trees? And then your schedules you could set up for charging, which is really nice. And then you're right back to where you started with the power flow. I'm gonna throw it into reverse. Boom, you got a nice backup camera, good resolution, trajectory, 360. I love the way they put this little warning tape around it. It's like, watch out, I'm in the minivan. I'm gonna run you over. All the different angles, out the front, out the back. Check it out. Another thing that's an industry first and an industry only is going to be the controls. Watch this. FamCam. It's the only camera system that allows you to see the face of all occupants. So say you have one of those reverse child seats in the mid row, you could actually keep an eye on your kid's face. Some parents don't want to look at their kid's face because they're surprised what it looks like. But if you're the type of person that wants to stare at your kids, this is also perfect if you have teenage kids. And you could be like, hey, no hanky-panky back there. Keep your hands to yourself. And then it's easy to get out. Now, working your way down, we have physical knobs and buttons, which I always like to see, especially for the AC controls, radio controls. You got your rotary twist for that CVT transmission. They call it an EVT. Don't let the acronyms fool you. It's a CVT. Working our way down, you do have a Blu-ray DVD player, so you could get out the old movies, maybe some Barney, USB-C, USB-A, some gloss black, but watch, most people are gonna do this. Boom. Nice little cubby area, wireless charging, 2 USB-Cs, 2 USB-As, an aux jack, and a place for a couple packages of candy cigarettes. Those are the only cigarettes your kids should be using. 2 cup holders. There is our Chrysler Specific Pacifica key fob. Say that 20 times fast. You could open up the side doors. And then what's great is you could actually have a little area for a purse, a bag, a sack, a satchel, even like a 3-pound bag of Red Delicious apples. Those are good snacks for your kids, especially if they've been eating too many Twinkies. There's a limit. There's a cutoff limit on the Twinkies. Napa leather. I just want to let you know, Napa leather with the stitching. Open it up. You do have a 12 volt, and we have 2 more USBs, an A and a C, and then enough room in here that you could actually put, I would say, a Nerf football and a Nerf softball. The reason why is back when I was a kid, my dad used to have a Nerf football up front, and if we were misbehaving, he would just chuck the Nerf football at our heads. Yes, it would get our attention, but no, it wouldn't kill us. So you could actually keep the softball and a Nerf football, so you could live the Raity's Rides legacy on how my dad used to control our behavior. Leather, Napa, nice soft material, white contrast stitching. Look at the diamond stitching here. Lee Iacocca did that himself. Full electric assist for the passenger and the driver. We got Alcantara all over the top, even going towards the third row passengers, and then you got a full array of switchgear up top to open up things like the sunshade, like all the other things. And there goes the shade for that panoramic sunroof. I'm not gonna send it all the way back. I'll send it all the way back, what the heck. There goes the roof But why don't you come over here to the business end? I want to show you behind the wheel of this Pacifica. All right, guys, business time. Before I let you in, I want to just show you where you're going to be plugging in. That's what makes this special. It's a plug-in electric hybrid. Like I said, 32 miles of pure EV. Now it's time to come on in. How you been? We got 2 memory seat settings up front for the driver. You do have that Pinnacle badging. That almost said Pacifica. Pinnacle, little aluminum silver plate. You have a little nook here, which is kind of cool on both sides for your umbrella. We got our seat controls, which is also a nice little touch. And then plenty of room in here. That's the one thing with a minivan is you can't argue with the room. Steering wheel, nice thick rim, leather with that contrast stitching. Semi-tasteful horn button, flat black on all the buttons. You do have a manual. I'm surprised it's not power. Manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel. And then you have your 7-inch digital display in the center with the analog gauges around it. Clean, clear, concise, and I'm digging the blue lighting. Chrysler does a great job with the blue lighting. The one thing it does not have is a head-up display, and that's going to be a zonk at $60,000. But why don't we go ahead, let's get into the mid-row and see how a minivan trumps an SUV and how this one's better than the Sienna. All right, guys, mid-row time, and this is where, like I said, the room is crazy. Now, I'm going to point out, because there's a battery pack underneath us, there's no stow-and-go seating that Chrysler is really known for. But what do you get? When you go Pinnacle, you get this nice Napa leather soft pillow. One side leather, other side Alcantara. Nice and soft. I just thought about, like, God only knows where this pillow has been. I'll throw that in the back. Speaking of the back, backs of the seats, check it out. You actually have your ability to watch your movies. Like I said, there's a Blu-ray DVD player. You got all your plugins, HDMI, aux jack, and a USB-C. You even have a nice little remote control with its own pocket space. And you got enough room here to put, I'd say, 1-pound bag of Twizzlers. So when you're watching your movie, you could take your Twizzler. I remember back when I was a kid, I used to take my Twizzler and like spin it around in my Coca-Cola and then eat it. Those were the days. Backs of the command center, you got a nice little holder here. This is perfect for a bag of popcorn. Make it extra buttery, extra salt. And then if you're wondering where we're going to put the drinks, whoa, now we're talking. This is the Raiti's Rides storage area. Big enough for 1 box of Twinkies, 2 cup holders, and then I love the way it easily just slides right out of the way. I got my own screen here. That's where I want to be right now. I want to be right there. And it is a touchscreen. I just made it go away, but it had a nice little home screen of a beach. I could watch Raiti's Rides real nicely. 1, 2, 3. Close it up. AC controls mounted up top. I get all the adjustments. Even with the panoramic sunroof, I got plenty of room in here. And then, whoa! Nice. The seats do slide. Obviously, you just saw them recline. And then the armrests. I am going to zonk these. Too thin. Too thin. Ford does the best freaking mid-row armrest. They're nice and beefy and meaty. Flip them out of the way. Why don't we go ahead, though? Let's see what it's like in that third row in the Pacifica. All right, guys. Back seat time, the third row. Now, normally, in most vehicles, the third row, if they have one, is where you want to punish people by having them sit back here. Trust me, your kids are going to want to fight to sit back here because you're far enough away from mom and dad and you have all the comforts of every other row. USB-C, USB-A, cup holders and everything else. I got my AC vents. But remember, this is a message for your teenage kids. If you have your boyfriend or girlfriend back here and your mommy or your daddy are taking you to the movies, watch what you're doing because they're watching you with that fam cam. But let's see what we could haul in this family hauler in the cargo. Let's go back to it. All right, guys, this is where any minivan, I don't care which one we're comparing, is gonna just blow the doors off of any SUV with that cargo space. Real simple, hit that button, nice electric assist, and then you're gonna be greeted to, first of all, look how low that bumper is. I could actually climb into this. So you could use this as like a little area just to kind of hide from the kids when they make you feel like you're gonna pull your hair out. You could have that, Palmolive moment back here and just kind of relax and get away from the craziness. But that's the nice thing about having this so low, lots of space. With those seats up, what are we talking about? You're probably asking me, Joe, how much room do we have? You're looking at almost 33 cubic feet of space with the seats up. Fold the seats down 87.5, fold the mid-row down 141 cubic feet of space. That's more space than even, say, a Suburban, a Chevy Suburban. Let me show you some of the things here. We got this little door. Knock, knock. Who's there? Open the door. This is where you got all your charging accessories. Nicely placed. Close it up. Now it's time to show how the seats fold down. You also do have a 12 volt on the passenger side. That's going to be good for when it's beach day and you got to blow up all those inflatable rafts and stuff for your kids. But now it's time to put the seats down. And it's a little bit of a process. So you're going to first of all, 1, 2, that gets the headrest down. Now it's time to actually get the rest of the seat down. You're going to pull, watch this. You're actually going to go backwards. Boom! Disappears right before my eyes. Pull. You think it's not going to make it, and then all of a sudden, boom. Now you have that 87 cubic feet of space. You can see how flat everything is. I'm going to have Lori also show for the third row passenger, like I was telling you about, there's the cup holders and USB-C, USB-A. You fold those mid-row seats down, and then you're really just maximizing everything. I think the one zonk, if you go plug-in electric hybrid, and I'm going to go ahead and close this up, the one major zonk is going to be no stow and go mid-row. That's because that's where the lithium-ion battery pack is. But why don't we go ahead, we got the e-hybrid, let's see how far we could go on a tank of fuel on throttle. Let's go ahead and do it. All right, guys, we're in this 2022 Chrysler Pacifica Pinnacle. Driving down the road, obviously very smooth. You got a clear view of everything in front of you, especially with the way that the hood slopes down at an angle. Really opens up the visibility, including the 2 triangular corner windows as well. Now, what's great about the hybrid system is, like I said, you could pull up this screen. It shows how it's being put to use. The bad news about the hybrid system is that you lose the stow and go seating. So you need to really value fuel economy over the versatility of having that stow and go seating system that Chrysler is known for. But very, very smooth in its operation, especially with the turning on and off of the electric motor. Interesting to think that this is actually slower 0 to 60 than the conventional Pentastar internal combustion engine V6 powered Pacifica. But where you're winning out is going to be obviously the fuel economy and that little over 32 miles of range on pure EV. That is something that the Pentastar V6 alone cannot do. Up top on the dash, you do have those LED lights. I didn't point those out to you earlier, but there is a row of LED lights right near the base of the windshield. That is going to be for the system when you're charging it. It actually illuminates to let you know when it's fully charged. And I like the way on the key fob, how you have the ability to open up the side doors, remote start, and open up the rear lift gate. And it's a tasteful looking key fob, which is nice. But visibility is great. I could get into that fam cam, and that's where you can see where the hanky panky's going on. And then right back to that electric vehicle setting. Now, the one thing I do want to point out is to actually adjust the blower fan speed, you do have to go into the screen. So to actually adjust blower fan speed for the AC, you do have to go into the screen. Also, the heated and ventilated seats are only through the screen. I wish they would have gave me that option in the actual buttons here. But seat comfort is spot on the money, as you would expect from a vehicle called the Pinnacle. And then also just the finishes. Really, really something that you're not going to find on the Toyota Sienna. But once this light turns green, here we go, on throttle. So not the fastest 0 to 60, but the great news is that it actually feels really good the way that the electric motor and the internal combustion engine is harmonious. And to be honest with you, the way that the range is on this thing has been quite stupendous, that's for sure. All right, as we're rolling away, I want to get out on the highway and show you how this vehicle cruises down the road. One of the things that's also going to really shock the heck out of you is that it's super quiet in here. They did a great job on the sound deadening material, the acoustic windshield, the laminated side glass. It's very, very quiet in here. I guess the good news is nobody's going to hear your kids screaming. Bad news is you're going to hear your kids screaming very, very clearly. But all the safety features, blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist, parking assist, really just allows this vehicle to be driven very easily. Low center of gravity compared to an SUV, and with that lithium-ion battery, you're also getting more of that great lower center of gravity. I don't mind the instrumentation. It's easy to read at a glance, easy to understand. You got the regen braking. And then another thing is when you go on throttle, as we're about to, on throttle, it's like, it doesn't have simulated shifts, but the great news is it's not super buzzy in here. And I think that's because of it being a V6 rather than an inline 4. But driving down the highway, I'm telling you, this thing is super smooth and really the gold standard when it comes to minivans. I think, like I said, where the Sienna definitely has this beat is going to be that awesome Toyota reliability. And of course, the look. I think the look is a lot more modern, especially on the interior. But this does have Nappa leather, which you're not getting in the Toyota. Getting to the Uconnect 5 and that infotainment system is well within reach, which is good because you're going to need that to access a lot of the different functions. And then the steering has a nice light feel, nothing too crazy. You can get the Pacifica in all-wheel drive if you need. But round and round and round we go. Here we go. On throttle. Chirping tire's a happy tire. Obviously, the front wheels and tires are a little overwhelmed with the acceleration and with the handling. That's a lot to ask of those little 18-inch tires up front. So you could see that all-wheel drive would come in very handy, even on dry pavement, let alone snow, rain, dirt, and everything else. But I think the best thing that I love about this Pacifica is just how easy it is to drive. And it's got every little thing that you need to make that family vacation, the daily school driving, work driving, and everything in between super, super easy. But I hope this has been a good overall review of this Chrysler Pacifica. We're gonna get back to where it all started and wrap this one up, so I'll see you in a split second. All right, guys, it's been one of those family hauling, hyper mile kind of days here on Raiti's Rides. Definitely want to thank everybody at Chrysler for sending over this Pacifica Pinnacle e-hybrid. The first time we covered it here on Raiti's Rides. Let me know what you think. Are you going with the OG, the people who have been pumping these out the longest, or are you gonna go with the Toyota Sienna? Let me know in that comment section. But if you're new to the channel and you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raiti's Rides family. Definitely gotta give it up to the biggest and the best and the hardest working member of the Raiti's Rides family, Lloyd Raiti, working that camera like a champ. Show us some love in the comment section. Follow her on Instagram, real simple, at Lloyd Raiti. Go ahead and follow. Thank you, Lloyd, for all your hard work. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.